All right, on this episode of Brian's Brain, I sit down with Cody Lynn Boyd. He is a singer-songwriter here from Texas. He's put out a few singles. I'm not sure what his genre is. There's folk, there's kind of rock, some western. We kind of joked around a bit about this, but even like some old carnival type tones. Fun conversation, awesome guy, really kind, good-hearted person. We talked about a lot of different things, some of his future ideas, some of the videos that he's produced himself. He has another one coming out pretty soon. I believe he said in December, so check that out. The song you're hearing right now is I Played With Fire. I believe this was his first single out, but, without much more rambling from me, there's our conversation. Cody Lynn Boyd and me.
Oh, you feel like your mood changes when you click record?
A little bit.
No, that totally makes sense.
I know. A lot of times I'll just start recording and kind of fuck around. Like, I probably won't keep any of this in there.
It's like when you like take a video of someone that's like kind of having a goofy face or smiling, and then when they see a camera on them, they try to get serious or looks cool or so or something
right,
like that.
Exactly. It's kind of this. Yeah, it's exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
So I am actually here with Cody. I think that you gave me permission to say Cody.
Oh yeah, that's
or
fine.
Cody Lynn Boyd. You are from your Wikipedia. Did you know you have one?
I don't have a Wikipedia?
Yeah.
You're lying.
I am lying. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was like, what?
But singer-songwriter from Fort Worth, Texas.
I guess I would say more from Texas, But I live in Fort Worth now, though, so I guess you could say that.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm not lying on that one.
Right.
I feel like you're much more than that, though. What do you think about that? That's something I wanted to talk to you about.
In what way?
Well, originally the first thing I heard from you or saw from you wasn't music, actually. It was your middle finger video.
Oh, right.
So I don't know we have some common acquaintance, but I saw that video and I clicked through your Instagram, I believe it was,
mm-hmm.
and then I saw the music. I was like, holy shit. So that's actually the first thing that it made me aware of you.
Nice. It was a goofy video I made with my friend.
Right.
We were just bored one night, late at night, and
yeah, it was fun. And like every time I thought it was over, you'd have like this other thing that you did there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give it away. It's funny to me.
Nice.
And I wanted to ask you too, like what Dave Chappelle had this kind of statement where he was talking about the relationship between musicians and comedians.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Is there something, or
I'm not too sure. I'm not sure exactly. What do you mean?
Well, I think I've noticed this too. A lot of comedians are also musicians in some way or want to be.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of musicians, he says, think they're funny. It's kind of a silly way of putting it, but
right.
I do feel like there's some correlation between those two things.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like I just said, seeing you, the first thing I noticed was this comedy thing you did. So I feel like you're into comedy as
Oh, I love comedy, but I wouldn't consider myself trying to become a comedian of any kind. But I like to goof around like anyone else.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
maybe not so much a comedian, but I've seen your scare videos. Like, let's.
Oh yeah. I try to make work a little funner.
Right.
Sure.
Right. I definitely appreciate those. That's what I was gonna say. If you do have a Wikipedia page, I will edit that to singer-songwriter and scare enthusiast.
Okay, I'm down for that.
I like that. I was trying to think of a way to put that earlier. All right. So your music, I was trying to figure out how to define it. And what do you think? What would you call if you I feel like you don't like that question so much.
I mean, I don't dislike the question at all. I guess I find it kind of hard to answer.
Right.
But I would say it's themed songs.
Right.
Because every song has a different theme to it.
Right.
And that kind of stems from my interest in like musicals growing up.
Right.
Like Mary Poppins had that kind of that Yiddish European style production. And, Or, just any kind of other musical. Like Grease had that kind of 50s vibe. Rocky Horror has that kind of vibe. I've always liked concepts and themes for songs. May not happen all the time or just subtly, but it's always been like a pattern I see in my music for sure.
Right. That's something I noticed. Your music, I think, is very easy to kind of visualize a story behind it. And I wasn't sure if that was something you intended to do, but for me, that's kind of what captured me with your music. It's really easy to put a picture behind it.
That's awesome. Nice.
I really appreciate that. Like I don't know if I mentioned, but like it wasn't really my style of music that I was interested in.
Oh, really?
I grew up with more like classic rock, metal, and rap when I was younger than classic rock. And then lately a little bit more electronic type of music.
Okay.
And then I've heard, I played with Fire, which is a fucking awesome song.
Thank you.
Very well produced, man. They definitely earned their money on that one, I think.
Oh yeah, my producers kicked ass on it. Yeah.
Right.
It's fun working with them.
Do you have a favorite song that you've done so far? Or maybe not a favorite song, but how about the funnest song that you've worked on?
Oh, that's a hard one. My favorite would be the next one.
You do have a favorite.
Well, it would be the next song I'm going to probably release.
Okay.
Just because it's the one I'm most excited for. But my funnest one would be probably I'm Gonna Give You Anything. It was probably my funnest one to work on.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah. Because I've always, I grew up always kind of fascinated. I wouldn't say grow up, but, somewhat recently I've always been interested in like religious and like the devil and like all that kind of that whole culture and that whole like circumstance of like falling away from God and like selling your soul and like the train tracks and like I don't know, that whole like picture that comes in my brain when I think of that has always been a big interest to me. And I wrote that song kind of about someone taking advantage of you, but with that kind of like subtle devil atmosphere, like someone kind of knocking on your door with a business suit trying to give you money in a briefcase so you can become a big star, that whole classic story,
right?
And I don't know, and I wanted to add kind of like a New Orleans kind of like swing to it, so I got someone to play like the slide guitar, and my producer Taylor did the organ, had my friend Josh play the drums, and so I wanted that kind of New Orleans, sell your soul, swampy kind of carnival.
That's what I was going to say
atmosphere
too.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds fun, and I was trying to think of how I would describe it, and you said carnival. That definitely is a word that I would have used.
Sweet.
Like an old spooky carnical type theme.
It's a classic atmosphere to have something real. It's overdone, but I'm not like not in a way where it ruins it, but it's done a lot. But like to have that contrast of something really happy,
right,
and really spooky together is always fun.
Right.
But now it's at the point almost where like carnival is just like straight spooky because it's been used so much like that.
Right.
But it's not bad. It's not bad.
Damn, Scooby-Doo.
Right. I love, and that's a big influence of mine as well.
All right. So right now you don't have any plans to do a whole album, is that right? You're just kind of doing some singles for now? I'm
just doing singles. I'm probably going to release another one soon. I just finished the music video for it. It's the third one I made on my own. But yeah, I've just been doing singles lately. I'm not signed to a label or anything. I don't have any management, so I've just been writing songs, recording them, and finding people to make music videos or making the music videos on my own. And I may enshrine them together when I get a good amount together, but I don't know, just to kind of keep it organized, like a documented way.
I feel like you would do or you may unintentionally have been doing almost like a concept album. I feel like some of the songs that you've done so far could be part of a concept album. You have kind of this beginning to end in my head at least.
Really? How so?
You. I don't know how to explain it at the moment. Like, I'm trying to think of the songs that you have. You have like I'm gonna give you everything. It's kind of the turning point, perhaps, in the album, where something drastically happened, something dramatic happened, and that's kind of the twist for the album. And then maybe the rest of the songs that you have yet to release, or maybe even some of them that you have so far, could kind of fall into that more darker.
Okay.
Into the, let's say, climax where you kind of turn it around, maybe. Just the idea of like having these, almost like a movie, you know, like a yeah.
Right. Okay. I could totally see that. I've always reminisced of, like, I look at my songs and sometimes I look at it like a puzzle where I can kind of put it together. Like, I've always had this subtle idea to kind of maybe write songs for musicals. And one day, because that's probably my biggest dream, because I grew up on Mary Poppins and Robin Hood and like Jungle Book and all those all those musicals and stuff. And there's a concept and a story behind it. But it'd be kind of cool to work with people that wanted to do a story like about someone selling their soul, like maybe like in the 50s, or something like that, and then, or maybe in the 40s. Right. And then they kind of make it to stardom, and then they come back, and I'm gonna give you anything's kind of like in the beginning or middle where they sell their soul. Then I Play with Fire is like the aftermath.
Right.
Of it,
exactly.
Like that.
Right. But, and I think I thought of that because of the last one you put out. I can't remember the name of it at the moment. I'm gonna give you all my love. No.
Oh, Give Me All Your Love.
Give Me All Your Love.
Yeah.
So I thought of that one being kind of somewhere in the beginning of it. And like you said, kind of like the 50s. To me, I can see like I was trying to describe it to somebody, and it reminded me of. Have you ever seen Back to the Future?
Oh yeah.
So it reminded me of like their prom, like one of those songs that they might hear.
Nice.
So you have those older.
I love that. Thank you.
Right, and I mean that in like a complimentary way.
I appreciate that.
But to me, that's just kind of what I envisioned was like this for a video at least, or a story in my head.
Nice. Yeah, I told my producer that I really wanted that slap swing to it. And I wanted to add it halfway through the verse because the beginning of it, I kind of wrote too many verses, but I didn't want to do it with 3 verses and 3 after the chorus. So I told him, like, let's just add a swing slap halfway through the verse to kind of keep it going, and not too boring. But it also gave it that 50s element, but not too much.
Right. It's kind of subtle in there, but I definitely heard that, and I appreciated it. I didn't know what to think at first, but then I was like, this is awesome,
Nice, thank you.
So I played with fire. I think I've mentioned that I had this, what did you posted a picture from, this, like, I think it was like an old abandoned church at one point. Jerriman, Texas. Was that right?
Yeah, Jerriman, Texas. Yeah. That was one for Give Me All Your Love.
That place looks awesome. For
it is really cool.
Some kind of a scene. And immediately I thought, like, I played with fire. You as some sort of pastor, maybe, up on the front, in front of the congregation, like old school revival type.
Okay, nice.
Thing. I think that would have been fun, or would be fun. Man, I wish like you had this unlimited budget where you can just make these ideas.
Oh, don't we all?
I know. I feel like you would have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, I would love it too. But I'm trying to do it on my own. But I mean, I've had some great talent work on those 2 stop motion music videos.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a friend from 8th grade. We met like years later, somewhat recently, and she introduced me to Maddie. And then she did the I'll Go music video.
Right.
And then for Plastic Generation, I had Maddie and Anya do the that one, work together on that one. So, every now and then you kind of get lucky and you find like that talent that you don't really need like a crazy budget. You just have that talent.
Right.
But and then like for mine, mine are more rough, but it's still fun, to make, even though they're not super professional like the girls that did those 2.
When you did those videos yourself, did you have the idea already, or is that something you just had an idea? I was like, fuck it, why not? Let's just try it.
Sometimes it was a slow process. For the I Play with Fire music video, I always wanted to do something kind of minimal because I don't have a budget, and if I remember correctly, I think I woke up in the middle of the night, and then I kind of just recorded myself singing the song in my bedroom with like just,
nice.
just with like the what's it called, the light tool on my iPhone, and I recorded that. Then I just kind of messed around on Final Cut Pro, and kind of did some contrast and stuff like that. And made it look more like posterized and stuff like that. But and then for the I'm Gonna Give You Anything music video, I recorded a lot of it with my iPhone, and then I had a friend that her father had an 8mm camera, and
that worked out.
I took the blank shots and I mixed it with my iPhone footage because I didn't want to bring an 8mm like in the swamps and like all around. Sometimes I didn't happen to have it, so it'd be better just for me to record it with the iPhone and then just still get that 8mm effect with it. And so it was a slow process. Some of the footage I did for that one, I was just on a trip and I used it because, I was in New Orleans. I happened to be in there. I'm going to add it into it. It wasn't always planned.
That's a nice coincidence, happy accident. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like I'm extremely lazy, so like sometimes I try to like I'll go through my old footage and like, oh, what could I use? Okay, I went on a road trip. Maybe I could use that, give it some effects, make it look more southern, or make it kind of mesh with the video and stuff like that. Then I'm like, all right, good. I don't have to go do that now.
Right.
But and it's kind of like you're not wasting food. You're just like taking all what you have and kind of doing it for the best.
Right. I don't have that much footage, but one of the things I try to remember is that like ideas are valuable. Like there are people who, well, that's a little bit different. Ideas though, like write everything down. Write everything, keep everything. You never know when you're going to be able to come back to that idea where it might fit. It might not make sense at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something I try to tell people, like especially people who are trying to be doing creative things. It's like, I got like 7 notebooks just filled of stuff.
Right.
Like once in a while I'll go through them like, that's perfect. And it's good to hear you say something like that too. Did you want to do music videos? Because I feel like that's something that you kind of wanted to do as well, and maybe not music videos.
When I was a little kid, I used to, I always wanted a camera, and I always had like this cheap digital camera I would take pictures with and stuff like that. I made like some really corny like comedy sketches in middle school that are super embarrassing, and now I regret taking them off YouTube. They're like gone now. Yeah. But I've always kind of liked stuff with a camera, but it was always like in an amateur aspect. Like I liked it enough to do it, but not be like full-hearted, like professional about it. But I don't know. I've always
like you said, you kind of went back and kind of got some scenes from those things that you did record. So that works out.
Yeah, it didn't work out for sure. But to go back, when you're saying like if those ideas don't work in the beginning, that definitely plays a big role in some of my songs, because sometimes I'll write a song and it doesn't seem right, like it doesn't seem finished, and then I'll write another song and then it's missing a bridge, and then I'll take like a chorus from the older song and connect it with it. I'll take the best of that amateur song I wrote and then kind of mesh it with like a song that I think is a little bit, performable or better. Right. I kind of get best of both worlds, and I get to still use that old song that I'm kind of very sentimental about. Sometimes like, I can't play this song, but so I try to take the best of it. Then I kind of feel a little happier about it.
That's interesting. I listened to your demo album.
Yeah, I would say it's like a demo album.
Okay.
Kind of made it like in a living room / kitchen with one of my old friends.
One of the things I appreciated was the Made of Stone. That version compared to the one that you like officially released. Yeah. Hearing that contrast, because they're almost like 2 different songs.
Oh, for sure.
And kind of hearing you talk about how you can save this piece for something else. You might not have had the idea that you would later use it for. You might not be looking at it that way, but it's still there, kind of in your pocket if you need it, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. The demo one, like that whole album, we were just having fun, but when I went to the studio, I really wanted to try my hardest for the song to sound like how I always envisioned them. Right. And most of the time it's never going to happen that way, Right. But which is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it ends up being better, but that first one, the first Made of Stone, it sounded like like really rock and like
Yeah.
reverby and all that, all that stuff. But the new one, I always pictured it being kind of that tremolo effect and kind of that subtle Western vibe to it.
Right.
But so it was fun to kind of get that down. We actually recorded another version before that, and I actually didn't like it too much. I thought it was like, I don't know, it wasn't how I wanted it, so we actually redid that one, and then I released that version. So
all right.
But yeah, it's sometimes what you envision, it doesn't end up being that way when you go in the studio, or anything, or even movies when you write scripts,
yeah, exactly.
It's always gonna end up differently.
That's one of the daunting things to me about the idea of making a movie is like with music, you can work on it kind of in real time. You can hear it play it out, and you might get an idea to go with a different direction. But with like a movie, like by the time I've never made one, but in my head, by the time you like screen it, it's like you see you probably might be able to see all sorts of things that you could have done differently or something like that.
There's so much to go back to with a movie because you got scheduling with people. I mean, of course, with studio time, but there's so many more people involved, at least most of the time in movies. So like you get fewer chances, but with like a recording or music, it's like you can change the effects quickly, and you're not working with that many people to depend on. It's kind of like the what is it, that Sonic movie where they had they had to redo the design for Sonic.
Is that out yet?
I don't think so, but I'm excited to see it, and it's crazy how fans changed the outcome of that movie.
Right. I feel like they had to have known. I feel like maybe there was some sort of meeting about that. Otherwise, do you think people, just the fans making a fuss about it, would have influenced them that much?
I think so. I think that's why he did it. If I recall the article, but who knows? You never know what the article really, if it's true or not. But it's weird because back then, if someone was gonna come out with a movie, especially shooting on film and everything, like that's how it's gonna be. Yeah. And then like now we're at a time where you can kind of get people's like thoughts about before it's even out, and you get comments on YouTube, and then people have the technology to change it. I don't know. It's insane that people can change it that quickly. It's like we're getting closer and closer to be more like, I don't know, more accurate of what we really want. But
that sounds scary.
It's scary, but it's also cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, there's always pros and cons for anything, of course.
That kind of reminds me of like the music industry and how much some people hate auto-tune and things like that compared to like the 70s when you've had multiple takes of the same thing and kind of piece it together, or you had to be that good. Yeah. Whereas now it seems like people are kind of getting by, maybe.
Well, yeah, it's I feel like it's I guess an aspect of it just being like a product, all right, let's do it, bop, 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 beep, beep, bop.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
You get out of there, like, oh yeah, we'll use the cheaper chocolate dye. Come on, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what they're doing. Like, they got to go on tour. They got to, all right, let's auto-tune. Let's not take 3 days to do a song. Let's just do half a day. Then, go, do another meeting, make more money. And it's, I mean, I guess it's great in that aspect, but I feel like it also kind of gives it more of a disposable,
that's a good word.
Life,
yeah.
Like,
right.
And I think that's the whole thing why I like older songs most of the time. It's not so much that it's like, oh, it's indie, it's cool,
Right.
But it's more like, it's more raw, and there's more human element into it, and I think that makes it more, or it gives it more stamina in the long run.
To me, that's kind of like the difference between a musician and somebody who just like picks up a guitar, maybe, so to speak.
You mean like a session player or a writer, or
no, not so much like a session player, but somebody who's like a musician. That's their craft. That's what they do, as opposed to like somebody on a computer kind of mashing buttons.
I mean, they can still make great music on the computer as well.
Yeah, that's true too. That's kind of probably
another.
bad.
I still consider it another instrument for sure.
Right.
But there's a certain balance to everything, though, for sure.
Yeah, because like I was saying, I've done some music stuff, but I wouldn't dare call myself a musician. I've worked with some pretty talented people, and to me, like I feel like it would be not insulting, but I couldn't do that. I couldn't call myself a musician. That's not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do like some demo stuff and give it to actual musicians.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's fun.
Right.
But as opposed to like just auto tuning myself, or I don't know.
And sometimes like I don't try to like demonize it completely, because sometimes you can put effects on a voice, like you're putting an effect on like a guitar solo, or if your mind's controlling what the sound is, there's still that human element to it, no matter what, even if it is on a computer.
That sounds like some of that witchcraft stuff you're talking about.
Oh, sure.
If your mind's controlling the,
like if it's what your mind's hearing and what you want to kind of like have people hear or see, then it's still another tool.
Right.
Because like you can see a painting of like a fancy party in a cemetery with a dog, jumping in the water to catch a fish, and it can be beautiful, but it's paint.
Yeah.
All it is paint.
Right.
It's not anything crazy. It's not a supernova. It's just ink on a canvas.
Right.
But it's coming from a person's mind. And like that's why I used to be really pessimistic about like electronic music and stuff like that, because there wasn't that human element into it.
Right.
But I think that you're still putting what your mind wants to hear. And I think it's the same thing almost,
Sure.
But I guess it's more preference, I would say. Right.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to say it was just inherently bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah, same here. I wasn't as well.
You mentioned the human aspect of it. I think that's what I appreciate more.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing the story behind it too, I guess. Because hearing somebody like, I don't know, Janis Joplin,
right,
singing, like knowing her story and kind of bit more about her, you might be able to appreciate a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I think it just comes to preference,
Right.
And sometimes I like listening to kind of more electronic stuff too,
Right.
Now that I'm older and I feel like I've been more open-minded. But then again, when I was a kid, I loved the Gorillaz, and they were pretty electronic too in some aspects, and they're badass. It's one of my favorite bands for sure.
All right. Speaking of electronic music, you did an Ask Me Anything one time.
Oh, really?
And I'd asked you, what song or genre do you listen to that people might not expect you to listen to? Do you remember what your answer was?
I don't think I do, actually.
I'm Blue.
Oh, yes. That's one of my favorite ones.
That was a bit surprising, but I guess it makes sense now.
No, that's a great song, for sure.
It's an interesting song.
Mm.
It's technically a great song. I don't know. I don't know if I can get there with you.
Oh, really?
I think it's funny. I think it's a fun song, though.
Oh, it's definitely a fun song. It just depends on the mood,
Right.
But when I'm in the mood, I like it, for sure.
Do you have it on any of your playlists?
I mean, I listen to it like on Spotify, or or if it's around, or on YouTube, or
All right.
I'll listen to it.
That was fun. So how many songs do you have in the works at the moment? You got one that you're getting ready to release?
I have one I'm getting ready to release. I got it mastered. I got the music video finished. I may release it in December, but I'm not too sure at the moment. But there's a few others I've recorded that I haven't released as well. But yeah, I'm still playing it by ear,
right.
Just to do singles or enshrine them into an album in the future. I don't know. But there's a few others I recorded, and there's a lot more I've written that I haven't recorded yet, or I've just recorded on my phone, or like just like some demos or something like that, just to kind of keep them documented and to look back on and listen to and stuff. But yeah, so there's a few others that have been recorded so far.
Nice. You pretty much do have an album by now, it seems like.
Yeah, it's pretty much album's length, but yeah, I don't know. I'm still playing it by ear. I don't want to release all of them at once, especially with I don't really have a big fan base at the moment. So it's cool to focus on one song at a time, and it also helps my budget because I can just do it one at a time, instead of paying for mastering for a whole album, which would probably be cheaper to do it with a deal or something like that. But it's easier for me to do it in payments, one by one.
You've went to a few different studios, is that right?
Oh, I just went this one studio.
Oh, okay.
It's a producer named Taylor Tatch, and then my other producer went to his studio, Joshua Ryan Jones, and It's right outside Austin, a city called Dripping Springs.
Nice.
It's like a country area, and it was I think the city was called Audio Styles.
Are you sure you're not into like a country genre?
I mean, I think I creep into it, you know.
Okay.
Like what we were talking about earlier in the car. I always was kind of like always try to stray away from country. Well, not
Right.
not literally, but you know, like I never thought of myself as a country like artist. But when I look back at the production and the sounds I do like, and just my life, you know, always being in Texas, like
Yeah.
I feel like it's in me no matter what I do, you know. And,
Yeah.
And I've, you know, as I got older, I do like some country songs like John Denver and Johnny Cash,
Right,
Willie
right.
Nelson, you know. And then I think I'm like, maybe I didn't like country. Maybe I just heard a lot of people say they didn't like country, and
That-
then everyone
yeah.
else just kept repeating it.
That's
you
a
know?
thing too. I definitely fell for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird thing. How people can kind of be influenced like that.
Oh, they just read an article and just start barking at everyone else.
Well, maybe not. Well, there's that too.
Right.
But not only that, but just like you heard it from somebody that you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of just go along with it.
Right.
Or multiple people have said that.
I mean,
and
it's almost like it's a weird way to think of it. It's like if your favorite band or your favorite celebrity says they like something, then you might subconsciously like it,
Right,
or
right.
purposely like it. And I feel like it's the same way with if it's like a friend you respect or
right,
you know,
right.
social clique that you like, and you kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's just a very like small aspect, like saying, "Oh, I don't like country," you know,
Well, yeah, they did.
or any other genre. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Well, it seems like celebrities definitely get paid for promoting things. So I don't think a company would spend millions of dollars for a celebrity to say they like a product if it didn't work.
right.
And maybe it's just to get exposure, or maybe if it is to influence people, that's still kind of an interesting thing to me.
Right. Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, it's like, and a weird thing is, it's like when I see a modern show or movie do that, like they sponsor something, I'm like,
Right.
oh my gosh, you know. But then when I see older films, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. like E.T. with the Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like but I don't know. It's kind of funny when you look back on it, you're like, hell yeah, Reese's Pieces, you know. But if it came out now, you'd be like, oh, it's just like it's a
I know what you're
commercial.
doing.
It's a
I know what you're
commercial,
doing. Yeah.
Like the Stranger Things 3.
Yeah,
It was just
exactly.
Like, it was like a Burger King commercial, a Coca-Cola commercial.
Right,
It
right.
was crazy. I mean, it's still a cool show. But I mean, I'm pretty sure, you know, in the future, people won't care as much. It'll just be kind of cool, you know. But
That'd be weird.
mm-hmm.
It seems like, is that a Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, it's a Freddie Mercury picture.
Oh,
My dad
nice.
likes a lot of the 20th century celebrities.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed some of them in Duff Beer.
My favorite one's over there. It's the Jack Nicholson one.
Nice.
Also the Don Knotts one. Like
All right.
those guys a lot.
Man, I've been getting into like some old carnival art. Some of the posters, gig posters from back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any specific examples, but do you know who Darren Brown is?
I don't believe so. Who's that?
I guess he's a mentalist, illusionist,
Okay.
a sort of magician, I think he would call himself.
I may have seen those photos then before.
Probably.
He's a famous musician, not musician, magician, and then they have like this kind of old school like
Right.
those posters. Okay.
I had some of his. I've got damaged eventually, but
Oh no.
he does some pretty interesting things with behavior, kind of like what we were talking about.
Really?
He was on Rogan's podcast. I don't know
really?
how much they went into like his work and
Gotta
how
check
he
that
does
out
it.
then.
But some of his shows are pretty interesting. I don't want to give him away. We can talk about this afterwards.
Either way.
But it's definitely worth checking out, especially if you enjoy seeing like behavioral psychology, I think I would put
Okay.
it, mixed with some magic illusions and just some bullshit. I think that's how he describes it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
It's pretty cool though, man. It's interesting how seeing what people will do in certain situations. I feel like you would appreciate that. Are you familiar with Impractical Jokers?
I don't believe so. No.
It's another thing that is kind of like a social behavioral test for me, through my eyes at least.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll walk up with like a bottle that says poison, for example, and like just like in a panic, here, hold this, to some random person, and they'll hold it.
Okay.
And the things that they can get away with to people is very interesting.
Mhm.
I think, I don't know, Are you interested in like mentalism or magic? So,
I mean, I think like anyone else.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool for sure.
all right.
Yeah.
What about that Banachek episode on Rogan? Have you checked that out or
Which
not?
one?
It's another magician guy named Banachek.
I don't think I've seen that one. Maybe if I saw the face, it might be familiar.
Right. All right. Well, he was telling a story about how he could bend spoons or at least make people think he could bend spoons.
Oh, nice.
And back in the days, I think it was like the early 80s, I believe it was the U.S. military got a hold of him and they wanted to do some tests.
Oh, really?
And he basically just fooled the hell out of them.
Holy shit.
Right. They wanted him to bend some spoons and stuff, and he bent spoons for them. And he was telling how he did it. And once they closed, like they finished up whatever sessions they were doing, later broke in and bent every metal object, he said, that they can get their hands on. And the next day, like, these people were stunned and amazed at like how powerful these mentalists were. They just thought they had these great powers.
Wow.
I don't know. I feel like you would probably
Makes you think of X-Men.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But just the idea of that kind of trickery, I feel like you might enjoy.
Oh, for
something
sure.
like that.
It's always fun tricking people. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I thought you might say that. Do you have? You probably don't want to give away that song that you have going on with the music video.
Oh, I don't mind. It's a song called "Down by the River."
Down by the River.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
It's not a cover, is it?
Oh no.
Okay.
I do not like doing covers.
Okay.
I mean, maybe in the future, like songs that actually like meant a lot to me. But
Right.
I never like performing covers too much, honestly. It's tough for me to remember someone else's song, and then
Sure.
I would never want to like perform most of my songs at a set and then do a cover, and then people notice that one song, then they think, oh, this is just a cover guy. All those other songs are just covers,
Right.
But I don't know. Me personally, I don't think it's wrong because I love some covers. Like Creed's Clearwater Revival did "I Put a Spell on You," awesome, and crazy.
They did a few of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Willie Nelson's song's "Crazy" was covered by that woman. I forgot her name, but she does it perfect. But I've always liked covers. Like every so often.
Right. Is there any covers that you think are better than the original? To me, Stevie Ray Vaughan's version of "Little Wing," Hendrix song.
I haven't heard that one. No.
I like it more. I don't know why.
I guess kind of go to Hendrix again. I think I like Hendrix' version of "All Along the Watchtower" more.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But I love Dylan's version too.
Right.
It probably depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
if I want more of a storytelling kind of vibe, then I like Dylan's. But if I want something more kind of a jam and rock out, then Jimi Hendrix.
I actually didn't know it was a Dylan song before I heard Hendrix's version. Right. And like you're saying, I definitely appreciate them both. It just kind of depends on the mood.
That's how it is with the Guns N' Roses. Knocking on Heaven's Door. Dylan wrote that one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bob Dylan wrote that one. That one's way better, I think. Dylan's version's way better.
Probably.
Personally. But, that's another one for sure. But, yeah, it's always it's always back and forth. You might like some of the artists' songs more than sometimes you like the covers,
Right.
It's kind of like a screenplay, like a director might make the same story better or worse,
Yeah, that's true.
You never know.
Are there any remake movies that you'd like better?
Ooh, I know some sequels I like more than the first one, but for remakes, I'm not too sure.
All right.
Like for sequels, I like Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls more.
Yeah.
Than the very first one, Pet Detective.
Yeah.
But I love them both though. But then Home Alone 2 I like more than the first one because I like how he's in New York.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still like the first one a lot too. But there's a couple sequels I do like more.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Do you ever think about writing a movie?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where I get into conversations with a lot of people, and like I feel like a lot of people always have that go-to thing they want to do, but they never really end up doing it.
Right.
while they're doing something already, like
Right.
pretty well. And I feel like that's how I am with like movies. Like I always say like, oh, it'd be nice to be a director. It'd be cool. It's always in my head, or maybe to do acting, but I never actually put too much effort to do it. But I always like daydream about doing it, and I always had some subtle interest in it. While I'm always writing songs without trying, I just write songs when I feel like it.
I feel like with the videos that you've done so far, like on your own, you're kind of leaning towards that.
I mean, I would love to do it. The thing about me though, I've noticed that, I think, in a creative aspect, I've always been really good at like quick punches, as in like a song is like very short.
Yeah.
It's very like pushed together.
Right.
And when it's stuff like that, I feel like I'm a little bit more talented in than like something that has like a lot of stamina, like a novel or a screenwrite. Like that stuff. Like I've tried writing like a book, and I've tried like doing a screenplay, and I always quit halfway or like a quarter way, or so. And I don't know. I've always been good at more like closed in things, and that's why I think I would maybe be better at like or a better shot at doing like some like small role in acting or something like that. Like more embody the character than more of like focusing on the cameras and focusing on the lighting, and then telling that person to go get me coffee, and like stuff like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, so I mean, I would want to be involved in a movie, for sure, but to be like a director or a main actor of some like independent film or like a short budget film, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I'm ready yet, for sure.
That's kind of how I am. I can do scenes, but like putting all the scenes into like a story, a coherent story, like that's
a lot of stamina. And then when you think about like all the films, like they're made like in 2 or 3 years and stuff like that, and I'm very, very impatient. And that's probably why I'm not really good at stuff like that, because I like to be very like quick, and But that's why I like a lot of my music videos, like they're very like one shot of something, and instead of it being like a long thing, or I don't know. I've always been good at that, or enjoy doing that more.
I feel like once you get one done, though, once you figure out how to do that one, that second one will come a lot easier.
Oh yeah, like more experience.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And like I was saying, like you working on these couple ones that you've done so far, maybe this is kind of the equivalent of you reaching back at old ideas to make something new.
Maybe, yeah, because you always see that. The John Dilworth is one of my favorite heroes, the creator of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
Like, you look at like his old college cartoons, and like
right,
and like there's like these main characters, but on Courage, like later on in his career, they end up just being like a picture, like in the living room or something like that. Like he still put those in there, and
that's awesome.
And like he had these good ideas, and you can see some influences from the characters in his college days or his early days, and then he kind of perfected them and stuff like that.
Nice.
And that's why I wouldn't mind redoing like a music video, or even redoing, a song, get it reproduced, and stuff like that.
I suppose that's one of the cool things about being your own, I guess, boss. Would you describe yourself like that? Because you don't have a label. I don't think you have a manager.
No.
So you can kind of basically do whatever you want.
Yeah, no, a label is pretty scary, I think, right now. But
yeah,
I mean, there's good aspects to it for sure. But yeah, and I guess that's a good thing about it. You kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah. I guess it's pros and cons there. I would be kind of terrified to give like full rights away to somebody.
Right.
So if there was a way to kind of avoid that, I don't know if that's a thing that they would even consider.
Right.
But that's interesting.
Yeah, it's confusing because I feel like labels work differently now, but I don't know for sure, honestly, because I've never really been too much into that.
Right.
But I don't know, because like you can kind of do a lot of things on your own now.
Yeah.
But there's some elements to a label that might help you as well too. So like you were saying, pros and cons.
Right. Would you consider doing a vinyl album at some point?
If I can afford it. Like
I know,
it costs
right?
a lot of money to start up, and I don't play too many shows, so it'd be kind of difficult to sell. Consistently, but I mean, eventually one day it'd be nice, for sure. Probably not CDs, but I mean, like when I look back at how I listened to a lot of my music, it was mostly on the internet, and that's why I've for now I've just focused on streamable outlets because I think it works the best for now. But I mean, it's the vinyl thing is cool too. You know, I'm not really a vinyl collector myself. But maybe a few every so often. You know, if it comes my way,
right?
It's cool to listen to. But I'm not more of a collector.
A lot of people will swear that it's a different experience listening to something on vinyl.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like the songs that you've put out would, if that's true, I think your songs would be like very good fit for something like that.
It'd be fun, especially to kind of put like a atmosphere on the
exactly.
The paper, you know, and on that jazz.
Right.
It'd be kind of cool to make it fun, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be cool, and I would have more fun like creating it for people to kind of enjoy than like having my own vinyl, you know. But if I kind of care more with what they're experiencing, you know, than myself.
Right.
But
all right. You mentioned doing some acting. What does that mean that you would consider giving up the turtleneck and the black jeans?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind dressing up in a different thing.
Right.
I wouldn't care. I mean, sometimes I might not wear what I'm wearing now. Like I might wear like a Scooby-Doo sweater, at my house or something like
nice.
that. But when I'm like playing shows or just out and about, I usually just wear the same thing because it's easier for me.
Right.
But I've always had ideas to like dress in a different costume for shows just to kind of have more fun.
Yeah. No, same, man.
But it's my go-to is just wearing black.
Right.
It's just.
Was that a conscious decision or just like I don't care?
It was kind of like half and half. Like I liked just wearing black a lot, but one day I got tired of just like having a shirt ruined or like thinking about what I'm gonna wear and it's just wear the same thing. It's a little easier for me.
Right.
But, and I also love cartoons, so it's kind of nice to wear the same thing all the time.
I get that. Not so much a costume, but it's kind of a costume.
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
That's interesting. I like that. Yeah, if I find a T-shirt that fits and feels good, like that's it. I'm buying 10 of those.
Right. Because just wear your favorite shirt every day.
I'm kind of the same way, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've got like 3 shirts, and as long as they're clean, I'm wearing them.
There you go. Nice.
I appreciate that. What do you got? You got anything you want to bring up, talk about?
Not too much right now. I'm trying to think. Nothing right now. No.
All right. What was the last show that you've done?
The last show I did was
Arts Goggle?
Arts Goggle, yeah, Arts Goggle in Fort Worth. That was the last one I did, and that one was pretty good. That was fun. Yeah. And the one before that was in Dallas.
That's right.
Yeah, at the Ruins. That was a fun one too. I don't play in Dallas too much, so it was kind of nice to get out there.
No, you don't. I noticed that. Yeah. I wanted to go, but I'm not too big on like event things. Kind of
a hermit.
Yeah, pretty much. I like just kind of pencil and paper and working on ideas.
Right. Yeah. I get that for sure.
Do you have a show coming up recently or soon?
I have a couple coming up in December. November I'm taking off unless like something pops up, randomly. But I have a couple in Dallas one in Dallas and then one in Fort Worth. Yeah.
Nice. Are these full bands?
The one in Fort Worth I think it's gonna be me, my guitar player, and then my piano player.
Nice.
And then the one in Dallas is gonna be a full band. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Do you have a preference on those? Do you like the full band or?
I like both. Just, it's just different.
Right.
But there's always pros and cons to anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like both a lot.
All right. You talked about kind of the minimalistic, and I really like your songs. I think you can do either or, and they both sound great.
Thanks, man.
You're able to kind of capture people, or at least me, I guess, whether it's kind of just you and a guitar or with a full band, guitar solos and whatnots.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool, man. That's another thing that I kind of appreciate about the music that you've put out so far.
I mean, I couldn't do it without my team. My producers arrange it pretty well.
Right.
So
right.
It's pretty fun. They would just be folk songs without them.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But yeah, I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, man. there's something else I wanted to ask you. I can't remember what it was. So you're a pretty good pool player?
I'm decent. You know,
Okay.
I like playing pool. I think pool and ping pong are probably my favorite to play.
Yeah.
It's a good game to play, but it's also good to be social at the same time.
Yeah.
That's probably why I like them a lot, because you can conversate and play.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true. Rogan's talking about doing a pool cast. I don't know if that's what he
Oh,
called it.
really? Huh.
But he wanted to start streaming some of his games
Oh,
that
really?
they play up there. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's kind of neat. Huh.
Right.
Nice.
I it's kind of weird saying that I wish he would do something, but I wish he would have like a stage set up so he can have some of his musician buddies,
Oh, okay.
come and play if they want.
That'd be kind of cool. I
Right.
wonder if someone's ever played in the podcast, just like with
Just acoustic guitars,
just
I've heard.
acoustic. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think Everlast has done it, and a band Honey Honey.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I don't think I got anything else, man. What do you think?
I think we're good. How long has it been?
It says about 51 minutes.
That's a good time.
Minus some shit in the beginning.
Right. Right.
Twerking Meadows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, like this series thing. I'll cut it here maybe. But I wanted to do like this henchman series, kind of like a action spy comedy drama type thing. An audio version, at least for now. I've been trying to learn some animation and stuff. That's getting kind of difficult.
Oh, I bet it is. Yeah.
Fun, but I need some like Adderall or something for that stuff, man.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It's weird having an idea and like not knowing how to do this like technically. Because you want to get this idea down. You got this idea, you want to get it out as kind of fast and efficiently as you can, but then you're kind of sidetracked and you gotta, how do I do this?
Like the mechanics, the engineering kind of is in the middle of it.
Right. Imagine if you're like in a recording studio by yourself and you're trying to record an album. You have to play your guitar, maybe stop and go press button, record. You kind of have to keep going back and forth.
I mean, that's how it is, with my session players and my producers. It's I'll hum something sometimes, or like I'll say, oh, I need it to sound like that.
Right.
And it's not always just me coming up with ideas. Obviously, it's the producers and myself. But I can't do like a crazy ass solo.
Right.
I can't do that. But it's cool to have someone that's talented to kind of play along to my song and
right.
kind of add something to it.
Yeah.
Or playing like a drums a certain way, and but
Yeah.
like, and you have it in your head, but you can't actually put it.
Yeah.
Like a director that can't act, but he can like coach someone to do that.
Yeah. This is what I'm looking for. If you can give me something quite like that, that would be awesome.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then it's kind of weird too. It's like you're telling me how to play. You're telling me how to, but I don't think.
See,
not
I
saying you
get
do that.
I get scared, like about that, and then you gotta I think you get better at going about it, a certain way and stuff like that.
Right,
And
right.
they do the same thing to me, like, oh, we need to sing it like this way, or
Right.
something. If if I have a different flavor to sing it,
Right.
or give it more options.
That's awesome, 'cause-
So it's it goes hand in hand for sure.
Right,
And
right.
having a team, it does make it better. It might not turn out exactly the way you want it, but when you have other people involved, I feel like it gives it more of a likelihood for other people to enjoy it.
Right. Especially, you're working with other musicians, and clearly they have something to say about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. They have some cool ideas, or they mess up on a piano key and it ends up sounding cooler.
Right. Yeah.
So much could happen.
Those are fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to stop this. And how can people find you?
Just my name on any social platform, I suppose.
All right.
Yeah, it's just the same name.
Cody Lynn Boyd, person listening. All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you very much.